Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we aren't just looking at facts and figures. Instead, we're going to open up this beautiful, whimsical storybook of tiny word fairy tales. Words are so much more than just letters printed on a page. They're magical little tools we use to capture the human experience. Today, we're going to learn some stunning, rare English words, but we absolutely aren't going to just memorize a dictionary. Oh no. We're going to experience them through imagination so that by the end of this explainer, you will literally never, ever forget them.
Have you ever felt a happiness so incredibly big it just couldn't fit inside your body? Or maybe you've seen a sunset so breathtaking that your brain completely ran out of words to describe it. Well, we all have. But what if I told you there are exact, perfectly shaped words for these magical, overwhelming feelings? Today's explainer is entirely about finding those specific, unforgettable words and putting them right into your pocket so you can use them forever.
Okay, let's dive right into our storybook for today. We've got 4 beautifully structured chapters. Chapter 1 is Light and Joy. Chapter 2 is Sounds and Secrets. Chapter 3 covers Time and Fate. And Chapter 4 is Beyond Words.
All right, let's turn the page to Chapter 1, Light and Joy.
Picture a glass bottle of soda. But instead of just fizzing, imagine the tiny bubbles are actually giggling as they pop to the surface. Or think of your absolute best friend when they're so excited they're just bouncing up and down, talking a mile a minute. That bubbly, unstoppable joy actually has a name. It's effervescent. E-F-F-E-R-V-E-S-C-N-T. It's honestly impossible to be sad around something effervescent.
Okay, now imagine you're standing in a completely quiet, pitch-black forest. Suddenly, this one brave little firefly lights up right in front of your nose, casting a soft, gentle yellow glow on all the leaves around you. That soft glow is luminous. L-O-M-I-N-U-S. You can use it to describe a beautifully bright full moon or even just a person's warm, welcoming smile. So whenever you see something glowing softly in the dark, remember that tiny, brave firefly. Close your eyes for a second and imagine floating gently on a massive, pink cloud made entirely of warm cotton candy. You feel totally safe, light, and just perfectly happy. Or think about that exact split second your favorite team scores the ultimate winning goal in a championship and the entire stadium just erupts. That overwhelming, warm, weightless feeling in your chest, that is euphoria. Euphoria. That floating cotton candy feeling is absolute euphoria.
Moving right along to Chapter 2, Sounds and Secrets.
Picture a beautiful cello, but instead of wood, it's carved entirely out of thick, glowing, golden maple syrup. The deep, rich, comforting sound it makes is mellifluous. M-E-L-L-F-L-U-O-S. It literally means sounding sweet and smooth, kind of like pouring warm honey right into your ears. If someone has a voice so deeply comforting that you just want to listen to them read the phone book, they've got a mellifluous voice.
Now, when it comes to keeping secrets, there are 2 wildly different ways to speak, and this brilliantly illustrates 2 very different characters who use their words in completely opposite ways.
First, imagine a wizard with chocolate chip crumbs all over his long white beard. When you ask him if he ate the last cookie, he waves his wand and sprays this confusing cloud of purple smoke made of giant, dizzying words just to distract you. It's exactly like an octopus spraying a giant cloud of dark ink so it can escape unseen. He is trying to obfuscate. O-B-F-U-S-K-A-T. It just means to hide the truth or make things confusing on purpose.
On the other hand, imagine asking a tiny rock monster a huge, dramatic, incredibly complicated question about the meaning of the universe. He just stares at you for a second, shrugs his heavy little shoulders and grunts. That short, sharp reply is laconic. L-A-K-O-N-I-K. Or picture a tough, quiet cowboy out in the desert. You ask him for directions, and instead of a long speech, he just tips his hat and nods toward the mountains. Short, sharp, and perfectly laconic.
All right, turning the page to Chapter 3, Time and Fate. Imagine putting on your heavy winter coat for the first time in a year, sticking your hand in the pocket, and pulling out a crisp $20 bill you completely forgot about, right? It's an accident, a massive surprise, and a very happy ending all rolled into one. That magical recipe creates serendipity. S-E-R-E-N-D-I-P-I-T-E. Serendipity is just finding something wonderful without even looking for it.
Now visualize a fragile little green plant buried under a terrible freezing winter snowstorm. The snow crushes it deep down into the mud, and it looks completely over for the little guy. But the very next morning, the sun comes out and that tiny plant pushes upward, shakes off the ice, and stands tall again. That tiny plant is resilient. Resilient. It means bouncing right back up when life knocks you down. So, when you bounce back after a really hard day, you are resilient too.
Think about the meaning of this next word and imagine blowing a perfect, giant soap bubble on a gorgeous sunny day. It catches the sunlight, swirling with impossible rainbow colors, pink, green, gold. It floats beautifully through the air for 3 magical seconds, and then, pop, it's gone forever. You can't keep it. And honestly, that's exactly what makes it so special. Something beautifully short-lived like that is ephemeral. Ephemeral.
And finally, we open the grandest chapter of our storybook, Chapter 4, Beyond Words.
Imagine you're an astronaut, floating over to the tiny round window of your spaceship, looking out into the deep, dark void. Suddenly, you see a trillion glowing, swirling stars, ancient galaxies, and the infinite, breathtaking scope of the entire universe, just stretching out forever. If Mission Control radioed and asked what it looks like, you wouldn't be able to speak. You'd have absolutely no words left. That feeling of pure, wordless awe is ineffable. Ineffable. It means something is simply too amazing or too huge for any words to ever explain.
Words aren't just for speaking. They help us understand the world in completely new ways. You know, we didn't just learn dictionary definitions today. We gathered brand new lenses to look at our lives. From the effervescent joy of a laughing soda bottle to the ephemeral beauty of a popping bubble, these words are now yours to keep. So I want to leave you with this question to ponder as you go about your day. Which of these tiny word fairy tales became your absolute favorite today? Thank you so much for exploring these magical concepts with me, and I can't wait to dive into our next explainer together.